On the night of November 2, 1948, tragedy struck when a flight en route from Geneva to Lisbon ended in disaster, crashing into the rugged terrain of the Alps. Of the 32 individuals aboard, only one emerged alive, an astonishing young man named James Lennon, just 27 years old. When rescuers discovered him amidst the scattered debris the following morning, they were stunned to find him not only breathing but virtually unharmed. Little did anyone know, this event was merely the start of an extraordinary journey. 12 years later, James found himself at the heart of yet another historic catastrophe, the most powerful earthquake ever recorded, measuring 9.5 on the Richter scale, which devastated Chile in 1960. Cities crumbled and lives were lost, yet once again, James walked away untouched. Fate seemed relentless in its pursuit. A blazing hotel fire in Tokyo, a treacherous car crash on frozen Canadian highways, a train derailment, all became chapters in his unbelievable saga. His life is a tapestry of near-death encounters, each more improbable than the last. Death appeared to hesitate, as if wary of claiming him. Picture yourself in such situations. Your vehicle erupts in flames after colliding with a truck, you leap free of a collapsing hotel moments before it implodes, or you witness a train hurtling off its tracks, only to emerge without a scratch. This isn't the plot of a superhero epic or a sci-fi blockbuster. It's the real-life tale of James Lennon, a man who faced some of the 20th century's deadliest calamities head-on and lived to tell the tale. Over the course of his life, he survived no fewer than 12 major disasters, earning recognition as a living emblem of resilience and human determination. How did he manage it? What drew him repeatedly to the epicenters of chaos, yet allowed him to escape unscathed? What inner resolve guided him through moments of sheer terror? The explanations may surprise you. Prepare to uncover the story of The Lucky Man, a title bestowed upon him by awestruck observers. Beyond mere survival, James dedicated himself to helping others rebuild their lives after unimaginable trials, turning his own harrowing experiences into a beacon of hope for humanity. Chapter 1. The Beginning of the Journey. Plane crash in the Alps, November 2, 1948. Returning home after an important meeting with European partners, James Lennon accidentally changed his usual route. Normally, he flew through Zurich, but this time he chose the Swissair DC-4 Geneva-Lisbon flight. At midnight, as the plane approached mountainous terrain, a severe snowstorm began. The pilot mistakenly identified one of the peaks as the airport and began descent. The last thing James remembered was a bright flash and a sharp impact against the Selev Peak at an altitude of 2,500 meters. When he came to, the air temperature was 22 degrees Celsius. Out of 32 people on board, he was the sole survivor. Unable to descend the mountain on his own, James organized a smoke signal system using the wreckage of the plane. 16 hours later, Swiss military aircraft spotted the SOS signals and initiated a rescue operation. It was later revealed that all other flights on this route were fully booked. Fate seemed to have specifically chosen this flight for James. Car accident with a truck in Germany, 1952. 4 years later, James was driving along the A9 Autobahn near Munich on a foggy night. An oncoming truck suddenly lost control and collided with his car. Experts determined that the truck driver had fallen asleep at the wheel. James's car was completely destroyed, the steering wheel was unrecognizably deformed, and the engine had been pushed forward nearly a meter. However, the driver's seat remained surprisingly intact. During the inspection, engineers from Mercedes-Benz, the make of James's car, stated that such preservation of the driver's life could be considered a unique case in the history of automotive safety. The insurance company called it a miracle, although James always said that some other kind of magic was at play here. Interestingly, just days before the accident, he had randomly purchased this car, opting out of his old Ford. First rescue of fellow passengers. In the same year, 1952, an event occurred that made James reflect on his role in the lives of others. During a Frankfurt-Paris flight, he noticed strange behavior from one of the passengers. A young man appeared nervous throughout the flight, constantly checking the contents of his bag and making several trips to the restroom. Acting on instinct, Lennon followed him and managed to react just in time when the man pulled out a gun. Together with other passengers, they were able to neutralize the potential hijacker before he could cause any harm. This incident marked the first in a long series of situations where James went beyond being just an observer, becoming an active participant in saving lives. It was later discovered that the man suffered from a mental disorder and had planned to hijack the plane. Thanks to the actions of James and the other passengers, a catastrophe was averted. It was precisely after this event that Lennon began to realize his special role in the world and his ability to influence the fates of those around him. Chapter 2. Elements of Destiny. Earthquake in Chile, May 22, 1960, the strongest in history. In May 1960, James Lennon found himself at the epicenter of the strongest earthquake ever recorded, a magnitude 9.5 that struck off the coast of Chile. He was in the city of Valdivia when the ground began to shake with such intensity that buildings collapsed like houses of cards. Tsunami waves up to 25 meters high surged onto coastal towns, and Mount Puyahue erupted shortly after the quake, spewing lava into the sky. Lennon recalled instinctively taking shelter under a wooden table in a small cafe during the tremors. When it was over, he was astonished to find that the building where he had been remained standing, even as everything around him lay in ruins. Moreover, his actions helped save the lives of several cafe patrons whom he led outside just before part of the facade collapsed. This event became a turning point for him. I realized that my life was not just about my own survival, but also about the ability to help others. Fire at the Imperial Hotel in Tokyo, December 14, 1972. James stayed at the Imperial Hotel in downtown Tokyo while conducting business negotiations. At midnight, the fire alarm blared. As he stepped out of his room, the corridor was already filled with thick black smoke. Most people were running in panic, losing their bearings, but Lennon remained surprisingly calm. He used a service staircase he had noticed earlier and made it outside barely a minute before flames engulfed the upper floors of the hotel. Instead of leaving the premises, James returned to the building and began coordinating efforts among bystanders, helping rescue those escaping through windows. It turned out that his attention to detail, knowledge of staircases and exits, played a crucial role in saving more than a dozen lives, random encounters, and premonitions. Fate seemed to deliberately deal its cards for James Lennon. In 1975, during one of his many travels, he met a peculiar man at Frankfurt Airport who struck up a conversation about signs of destiny. This person, introducing himself as a psychology professor, told James, "You notice things that others overlook." These words resonated deeply within Lennon. Later, while traveling through India, he began noticing how often he would end up in the right place at the right time. For instance, once he accidentally deviated from his route and ended up in a village where locals were preparing for a severe flood they foresaw thanks to ancient omens. His assistance in organizing the evacuation saved countless lives. These incidents reinforced his belief that coincidences and premonitions were far from random. "Every person I meet could be the key to something important," Lennon often said. This realization transformed him from merely a survivor into a true guide for others navigating the most challenging moments of their lives. Chapter 3. American Adventures. Car accident on icy roads in Canada, March 7, 1983. In the spring of 1983, James Lennon was driving through the province of Ontario in Canada, heading to his countryside home after a business meeting. The temperature suddenly dropped to 15 degrees Celsius, turning the road into a sheet of ice. At one point, his car began sliding and veered onto a frozen lake. The vehicle broke through the thin ice and started slowly sinking. James acted swiftly. He smashed the window with his fist. Luckily, he had an emergency exit tool handy, surfaced, and helped his fellow passenger, a young teacher who was traveling with him, escape from the car. They spent about 5 minutes in the freezing water before being spotted by a local fisherman. I could feel life slipping away as the warmth drained from my body, but I knew I had to hold on for her, Lennon recalled. Surviving a gas explosion at home. Later that same autumn, James moved into a new house in the suburbs of Toronto. One night, he woke up to a strange smell of gas. Instinctively recognizing the danger, he immediately began waking up all his neighbors within a 100-meter radius. His actions were timely. Just minutes later, a powerful explosion occurred, completely destroying his house. It was later discovered that a gas pipe had been damaged during the house renovations. "If I hadn't woken up at that exact moment, the entire neighborhood would have been wiped off the map," Lennon remarked. Following this incident, he became an active participant in a campaign aimed at improving gas system safety across Canada. Lightning strike near Banff National Park. In the summer of 1984, James ventured into Banff National Park in Alberta for some rest and relaxation. During a mountain hike, a severe thunderstorm suddenly rolled in. Lightning struck a tree mere meters away from him. The powerful electrical discharge split the tree in two, trapping James momentarily between its massive halves. He managed to free himself thanks to his fortunate positioning relative to the strike. It felt like time stood still. I saw the flash of light and heard the thunder so close it seemed like it was inside my head, he recounted. This incident made him reflect on how often fate plays games with a person's life. Each of these events not only showcased James' incredible ability to survive, but also reinforced his role as the lucky man. People around him often remained alive due to his actions, even when they themselves couldn't explain why things turned out the way they did. These experiences confirmed his unique place in the world, not just as a survivor, but as someone who brought hope and protection to those nearby. Chapter 4. Trials of Fate Continue. Train derailment in Pennsylvania, October 3, 1991. On October 3, 1991, James Lennon was aboard the Amtrak train number 188, traveling from New York to Philadelphia, when disaster struck. Moving at approximately 120 km/h, the locomotive failed to respond in time to a damaged section of the track, causing the carriages to derail one by one. James was in the last carriage, which miraculously remained on its wheels despite being severely deformed. As panic gripped the other passengers, he took charge. "I felt like the captain of the ship," Lennon remembered, "knowing I had to be the last one off." He organized an evacuation through shattered windows, helping women and children escape first. His calm demeanor helped many retain their composure amidst chaos. It soon became clear how crucial his actions were. Just minutes after the evacuation, the carriage caught fire due to a fuel leak from the ruptured tank. Flames quickly spread through the internal structures, consuming everything in their path. Had people remained inside, their chances of survival would have been minimal. Incident with the stuck elevator. In February 1992, James found himself trapped in a capsule elevator between the 23rd and 24th floors of a Manhattan skyscraper. When the electricity suddenly went out, the cabin began to slowly descend under its own weight. The cables started overheating, and the metal structure emitted alarming creaking sounds. Working together with the other passengers, he maintained calm and suggested using someone's mobile phone to call for help. However, the situation worsened when one passenger, a middle-aged woman, began losing consciousness due to an asthma attack. Her inhaler was stuck in a bag pinned down by fallen advertising debris. Using his knowledge of first aid, James carefully freed the bag and retrieved the inhaler. He assisted the woman in regaining her breathing while everyone waited anxiously for rescuers to arrive. After hours of tense waiting, all occupants were successfully evacuated through an emergency hatch on the roof of the building. This incident became symbolic for him, emphasizing how vital it is to remain composed even in the most challenging circumstances. Fire at the Miami Mall. In January 1996, James was at a shopping mall in Miami when a gas leak in a restaurant on the upper floor caused a powerful explosion. The building filled with toxic smoke and panic ensued among the crowd. Lennon immediately began coordinating the actions of those around him. "I'd seen similar situations before," he said later. "You need to stay calm and act systematically." He guided several families to safety through service corridors typically closed to visitors. One particularly memorable moment involved a young girl who had become separated from the crowd. James found her hiding in a restroom to escape the smoke and escorted her to the exit, shielding her body from the fumes with his own. Following the fire, it was revealed that his efforts saved the lives of over 30 people. Road accident with the tourist bus. In the spring of 1997, James was driving along a highway near Orlando when he witnessed a severe road accident ahead. A tourist bus had collided with a van, trapping some passengers within the mangled frame of the vehicle. Without hesitation, James stopped his car and rushed to assist. His prior experience dealing with deformed structures allowed him to quickly identify points of leverage to free the trapped individuals. Rescuing an elderly couple whose legs were pinned under broken seats proved especially challenging. With improvised tools and assistance from other witnesses, he managed to liberate all injured parties before professional rescue teams arrived. Medical personnel later noted that James' swift intervention saved numerous lives, as some of the wounded might not have survived long enough to receive professional care. This chapter of his life demonstrates how James learned to harness his unique experiences to aid others during dire emergencies. Each new incident made him more prepared and confident in his abilities, transforming him from a mere bystander into a true leader in crisis situations. Chapter 5. Epilogue. Miracles Among Us. The life of James Lennon is far more than a tale of survival. It's a breathtaking symphony of moments suspended precariously between life and death. Every episode in his journey resembles a note in an awe-inspiring melody, where each sound could have signaled the finale, yet instead transformed into another astonishing twist of fate. His story invites us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about strength, chance, and the deeper purpose behind our existence. How often did James find himself on the brink of eternity, from clawing his way out of a shattered plane in the Alps to guiding terrified strangers to safety from a blazing Tokyo hotel, or narrowly escaping the crushing weight of twisted steel in a malfunctioning elevator. Every moment was a dance with danger. Flames roared just inches away in one scenario, a train derailed mere steps ahead in another. In these heart-stopping instances, fate seemed to toy with him, pushing human resilience and faith to their absolute limits. But was it all happenstance? Or was there something greater at play, a force steering his actions, shaping him into the lucky man who not only survived but also saved others? Perhaps each trial was simply about enduring catastrophe, but part of a grander design meant to teach him, and through him the rest of us, what it truly means to rise above adversity. Even as an ordinary person, James embodied extraordinary heroism, proving that courage isn't reserved for the chosen few. James often reflected that his role extended beyond personal survival. He aimed to become a source of hope for those around him. He believed that fate orchestrates encounters precisely when people need each other most. This belief manifested in countless ways. A woman gasping for air in a stalled elevator, a child trembling in fear during a mall fire, a family stranded amidst chaos on an icy highway, all found solace and salvation in James, a man who had weathered storms much like theirs time and again. His story serves as a powerful reminder that miracles can indeed occur, but they rarely happen by accident. More often than not, they hinge on the presence of someone willing to step forward, remain composed, and act decisively even when despair looms large. If this narrative has stirred something within you, if it has ignited a spark of optimism and belief in the improbable, then pass it along. Let it inspire those still searching for their own breakthroughs. If you feel moved by the idea that destiny crafts unique paths for each of us, leave a like or share your thoughts. Subscribe to explore more tales of remarkable individuals who reshape the world through bravery, perseverance, and unwavering hope. And keep this in mind, perhaps we all carry the potential to be someone else's lifeline. The challenge lies in preparing ourselves for that pivotal moment and embracing our role when destiny beckons. After all, you never know which turn in the road might alter everything forever.